Hey there, it's Leslie, and this topic today is lengthen to strengthen. Now, we hear this all the time, especially in a lot of different types of classes where you're up on your toes and the instructor's going, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your booty, which at the end of the day, if we're walking around with really tightened muscles, it's going to restrict motion. Especially if you're very active, if you are a skier or if you're a hiker or you snowshoe, you need your muscles to be resilient and strong, and they need to have, a really good load to explode. But if I've spent a lot of time tightening up my muscles because I want to feel quote unquote the burn, then how efficient am I going to be when I want to actually go out and do something? Now, if you're training for aesthetics and you want to be in gluteal pain all the time, then that's one thing. But if you're looking for especially a posterior end that is going to give you resiliency in things that you do, when you think about skiing, you're unweighting and waiting, or when you're snowshoeing, you're unweighting and you're waiting. And yes, you need some really strong muscles and tissue to do this. So when we think about, for example, if we go back into a posterior lunge here, so if I'm in this position here and I'm upright and I'm going up and down, I'm going to feel my quad, I'm going to feel my hip flexor on the opposite side, which is great. That's, if my goal is to really work into my quad, but again, if I have a really valgus knee, I'm going to start to add rotation into this motion here. So what this does is it starts to unload my knee joint. And for somebody who has really cranky knees, and there's millions of people in our country that are headed towards knee replacements, or they have bad knees from doing stupid stuff like I did for years and years and years. So again, when we look at, if I want to really start to work into my quad, I want to strengthen this guy because I want to ski, but yet if I'm here and like I see it all the time, lift your heel and lower your heel in a lunge. Well, why would you want to do that? We want this calf to be super lengthened when we do this motion. But then when we add rotation to the motion, you're starting to lengthen out this hip flexor. And then when you start to use other drivers and you start to reach up and over the head, as you go into a lunge and as you come back, you're loading up that quad so much differently, which is good. That's what you want. Again, skiing is very reactive. You don't know whether you're going to have somebody come by you and you have to stop, or you want to avoid a crash, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then secondly, let's talk about, so if I'm upright, it's going to be more hip, it's going to be more quad. But the minute I start to go forward and I start to add rotation here and coming up, now my glute is starting to get a phone call because I'm in a hinge position. Yeah, my quad's working, but now I'm really starting to lengthen that posterior chain. And especially too, when we go into a back lunge, the minute I go into a back lunge here, I've already lengthened the side of my body just by doing this. Then when I start to reach down and do this motion and then come up, get in and get out of it, here, I'm loading up that whole gluteal area. And that's good. So if you were to actually try any of these movements and quote unquote squeeze your booty, you couldn't do any of these movements. You would have completely restriction of movement. So again, some of the things that people hear and what they perceive as being as a good thing to do is not really that good. Think of a gymnast. Think of how somebody like Simone Biles at 4'9" can get 10 feet in the air. Well, she's got exceptionally strong gluteal muscles, and I guarantee she doesn't sit there and squeeze them. So with that being said, think about, like, even when you're getting in and out of a chair, as opposed to using your hands when you get down and you get up, load, get up, but don't squeeze. Take that out of your vocabulary. The only time we need to squeeze our glutes is maybe you've had a bean burrito, just saying. So with that being said, load to explode is going to give you more resilient tissue. You want to think of it as a pumping action. The more that we can pump the fluid into the tissue, stay hydrated, so that makes your joints happy as well, the better you are going to be at the sports that you love to do, whether it's winter or summer. And this is Leslie, and this is Lengthen to Strengthen. You've all done deadlifts before, then you know how your hamstrings are like, oh, okay, next day I can feel something. But again, if you squeeze your butt and try to do this motion, hello, lumbar spine. So again, some of the things we do are really ridiculous in training. So listen to your body. take a moment, feel. I mean, it's almost like a body meditation. When you have an opportunity to go, this is what I really want to feel in my body, that's when the magic happens. I hope these tips help. Remember, stay resilient, stay strong, stay ageless.